Well, so let me move on. I'll talk about something different, like a federal jury in Brunswick, Georgia, which is down on the coast, a couple 3-hour drive from Atlanta. Federal jury found 3 white men guilty of committing a hate crime and some other violations when they chased and killed Ahmaud Arbery 2 years ago. That whole now these 3 white demons, these white Christian demons, were convicted on state charges of murder, yes, but these are federal charges. And it guarantees, even though they never would have gotten out of prison, it guarantees that even further. And the jury of 8 whites and 4 blacks, and I think, 8 white, 4 black, 1 Latino, I believe, they determined that the killers were motivated by racial hatred because Ahmaud Arbery was a black man. The jurors delivered the verdict after just 2 hours of deliberation today. I think they had 2 hours yesterday, and then they were, what's the term? Oh, damn. Another brain fart. Anyway, they were held overnight in a hotel, I guess. Sequestered. Thank you, Mike. You're welcome. And the trial, this federal trial, focused on a history of racist and offensive statements from Gregory McMichael, the old man, and his bastard son Travis, and a real chump who decided to get in on the fun, William Bryan, 52, the one who took the video. Hey, look, they're chasing that old black boy. Let's go. I'm going to get me some movies. And now, Roddy, you're going to be in prison for the rest of your life. Dumb shit. Anyway, the jury found the men guilty of all charges, which included hate crimes, attempted kidnapping, a weapons violation for the gruesome twosome, the father and son. Don't you assholes feel like, what a way to spend the rest of your lives, huh? You're going to die in fucking prison, you morons, you white Christian demons, you. That's where you're going to die. And just think, 2 years ago, on the day before you killed Ahmaud Arbery, you were just living your useless fucking life down in Brunswick, Georgia, right? Drinking your booze and sitting on your front porch, smoking cigarettes and shit. And now, guess what? And you're going to serve your time in a state prison in Georgia. Oh. Now, it's being reported by several news organizations that the convictions of these 3 devils represent a victory for Joe Biden's Justice Department. And you know that the Attorney General has said that he will be more aggressive in prosecuting hate crimes. And this also represents a victory for civil rights groups that have demanded greater accountability in racially motivated attacks against black people and people of other so-called minorities. Because that accountability has been lacking. I mean, this case never would have gone to trial, in my opinion, and a lot of opinions, had it not been for Ahmaud Arbery's mother, who kept pushing and pushing and pushing until she finally, somehow, I believe it was his mother that released the videotape that the dumb shit Roddy made from the back of his pickup truck that showed clearly and precisely the murder of a man who was running through a subdivision, jogging, exercising. And black folk in this country would be, I'm sure, I don't speak for them, but I would imagine that they would tell you in a heartbeat how often this happens. And probably the only reason that these 2 white devils were put on trial and found guilty is because of the video that was recorded by one of the devils. Without a video, how many black men die killed, murdered, and there's no video, so there's no case. Well, we don't know, do we? Because there's no video. It takes a video to convince law enforcement at times to actually bring charges, or a persistent mother like Ahmaud Arbery's mother, who would not give up. She would not give up. Attorney General Garland said shortly after the verdict today, he had a brief press conference, or not press conference, but an official statement, and he said this, quote, "No one in this country should have to fear the threat of hate-filled violence. Throughout our history and to this day, hate crimes have a singular impact because of the terror and fear they inflict on entire communities." Good God, if any group of humans understands that fully, it would be black folk in this country. By the way, the jury foreman was a black man from Dublin, Georgia. Cute little town. Dublin is halfway between Macon and Savannah. And to get to Dublin, you have to travel Interstate 16, and it is desolate. I mean, there's nothing out there. Years ago, there used to be signs as you left Macon that said, make sure that you have gas in your car or whatever, because there were no services for the next 65 or 70 miles, 80 miles, which is about halfway to Savannah, which would have been Dublin, Georgia. But the foreman, black man from Dublin, was visibly crying as the judge asked each juror to affirm their votes in the courtroom this morning. The foreman's voice caught as he said yes, and tears ran down onto his face mask. And Gregory's wife and Travis's mother, now remember who they are. Gregory's wife, he's the older of the two white devils who were related, and Travis is the son. And she tightly shook her head as the verdict was read, as if she didn't really think, I guess, that her son and her husband should be found guilty. I just have to wonder, what the hell would it have taken? And then the father and mother of Ahmaud Arbery celebrated the verdict after they left the courtroom, went outside into the South Georgia sunshine. They were there along with civil rights attorney Ben Crump. Crump praised the Justice Department and said the conviction would ensure that Arbery's case would live on in history books. So the two white devils who were related and the white Christian devil who was not related have now been convicted of federal charges. They were convicted on state murder charges last November. So what does the conviction represent? Well, I guess the truth is it represents a conviction, this particular federal hate crimes conviction. It represents a conviction of two people who were found guilty. I don't think it's a landmark case. I don't see it as a watershed moment or a turning point or something that white people or black people in this country should stand up and applaud and say, oh, God, the tide is turning. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts.
As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.